So, welcome to Working Lunch with Accelerate. We're on day 2 of systems admin for super users. And as you know, the super users are the people who are responsible for the company for managing the system on behalf of your agency and dealing with us as a supplier. And we went to discuss yesterday some of the responsibilities of super users, which I'll just return to in a moment. And we looked specifically at user admin and drop-downs admin. And obviously we didn't have to go into reports admin and application form builder because we'd done that elsewhere. We just passed those by. We did a little bit on lookups admin. I'm going to do a bit more today so that I can show you how to move the lookups between groups. Remember, once you create a lookup, you can put it in different tabs. You can put it in application forms, reports, and so on. So it's a very, very useful feature. We ought to call it something more posh, something that sounds more clever and marketing-y, but at the end of the day, it gives you the ability to add new fields. So we've been through that, and we went through giving users their admin rights, which is very, very important. Today, I have no idea how that happened. If I press minus, yeah. Today, we are going to be looking at document template admin. So the ability to be able to create documents. If it's for staff, it could be job contracts, or it could be other agreements, or various different letters to them. It could be tactical emails that you make. Import admin, obviously very important if you are importing sites for field marketing or importing customers for anybody. And we're going to be looking at, as I mentioned, just a little bit more about lookups. I'm going to do that first just to sort of finish off the lookups yesterday. So just to confirm, a super user is a very, very important job. We've mentioned it's critical to the business. Systems understanding is really great, but the really important thing is the business knowledge that you have. And obviously, occasionally, going back to today's issues, you need to be able to import data into the system, perhaps more customers to be able to prospect, or new shifts for a large cleaning contract that you have, or a large retail guarding contract, or whatever. But it can also be that in order to help processes, that you create documents which go out as part of a process for somebody to sign, or just tactical emails to be able to solve a local problem. So we're going to be looking at that. It could also be contracts that are customer contracts that they sign up, and you want all the terms, conditions, and everything mail merged in. So we looked at the various system user responsibilities. Today's ones really fall under evolving the system, being able to change the system as your business changes, and as people say, oh, it'd be easier if we did this, that, the other. And of course, there are lots and lots of parameters which are affected in the journey of a staff member or in the operating of your business, which are affected by document template admin and by obviously importing data. So without further ado, let's jump into a demo. What we need to know before I jump into this demo of lookups groups admin is that in your system, and let me just go and find an example, if I can go and find these boys here. In your system, if you look at any person, that is interesting. Why has that happened? I need to just refresh this. In your system, if you look at a particular person, go back to Johnny Tester. This Johnny Tester fella will have certain lookups, and they're in specific tabs. So here we showed how you could, in lookups admin yesterday, you could move, let's say, experience and language tabs here. You could create, we didn't look at how you could create that tab, but what I want to show you today is how you can change the order of them and how you can actually create them. So just very quickly, if we go back to in here, now in this system here, it's actually called products admin or product management. And I'll show you the screen. The reason it's called product management is because we first of all created these lookup tabs for products, so that if you had assets or products in your system, and you had, for example, something to do with screens that you were taking to exhibition stands, or you walkie-talkies that you were using when you were doing your guarding duties or cleaning or whatever it was, stewarding, then in those assets, you would be able to go in and you would be able to have different properties for different assets. So, for example, a high-vis jacket would just have a size, but a screen might have whether it was LED or not, and a computer might have memory and things like that. So, if we just get rid of that. So in products admin, we have the ability to create new lookup tabs. And these are where all the lookup tabs are that you can see. Now, since then, we've renamed it, and you may find it in your system. If I go to this system here, you might find it, for example, linked elsewhere, and you might find it called, in this case, I've set it up as Lookups Group Management. So in Lookups Group Management, it's the same thing as Product Management, but it's a bit of a better name. Let's go back and get it again. Where's mine? There it is. So the idea here is that you've got various different product types that you can set up, or various different lookup groups, for example. And if you've got, do you remember we looked at experience and languages as our example? So in experience and languages, you can say which lookups go into experience and languages. So personal details, experience, training, qualifications, rights to work, and so on and so forth. And then for each of those, you can decide which type of people have them, and you can have which kind of lookups are in there, which ones you have to fill out. So, for example, you might say for this kind of organization, these lookups, so for farmers, you'd have their acreage and stuff in some applications. For self-employed staff, you might have different sets of lookups to staff who are PAYE, just as an example. So what you can also do in Lookups Admin is you can, we dealt yesterday with the ability to be able to, in Lookups Admin, move the order of the lookups around. So if I just bring up Lookups Admin here, you'll remember that we went to visible lookups, and I could move the order. So I made that 10, that 20, if I make that 30, and this one 40, and so on and so forth, 40, 50, and save all these, then those will be the order. 50, there we go. Any other rights to work? Probably loads. 60. Remember, you're putting 10 in between them so that you can put stuff in the middle rather than have to move all of the, that'll do 70, 70, 80, 90, 80, 90. Now that, as soon as I hit save here, will change the order of the lookups as they appear for this guy. So if I refresh this now and go back to, what was that, in rights to work, then they will be in the order in which I set them in Lookups Admin here. So if you've got a lookup that you go to a whole hell of a lot of time, then you can change the order in this Lookups Admin screen here, which doesn't need to be this wide, and you can find it easily. So there's one, for example, when we're telemarketing, targeted for, or systems used, other systems used, or whatever, that we like to have right at the top, and you can do that as well. So you can put the ones that you use most right at the top, rather than having to go scrolling all over the place to find them. Send HTML mail shots would be another one, or rights to work, or something like that. Now you can also change the order of these tabs, and that is what the product management system that we were just looking at is about. So in that Lookups Group Admin, you can change the order in which the tabs appear. So if you look at the lookup groups here, you can say that's number 1, experience and languages, and then you can say, let's have a look now, new starter form is tab display order, I don't know, 20 or something. And if I go back to the lookups for this guy here. So we've got them in no order at all, but I've now put new starter form at 20. So I think it's probably going to, if I just refresh this, I think it's probably now going to jump to the end. Yeah, so that's 20, and these others are probably all number 1 or number 2. So likewise, if I take something like interview questions and I make that, where's interview questions? So now it's second, and interview questions I'm now going to make 30. So I'm making it after new starter form. Once I go look at lookups again, then 30, I didn't hit save. There we go. So now if I look at that again, function F5. So wherever you want to move the tabs, wherever you want to add them to, you can do that. If you ever see a no group tab, it means that lookup, the lookups in that tab have not been placed. So date applied, frequency of egg delivery, pay queries, and VAT. For whatever demo that was, frequency of egg delivery. Oh, I know which customer that is. So, so basically, that was egg samples. We have a local farm that does egg samples here. Okay, so that's lookups. I now want to get on to the next one, which is document merge. Now, this is such a useful feature. I love this feature. I'm just going to show you on our document merge some of the documents that we have and some of the documents we use, but you can do exactly the same thing on your system. So to get to document merge, if I go back to the demo systems to start off with, and we go to document template admin, you can find that in admin. You can create all sorts of documents, and they come up in a list like this. So there's various ones in here. It looks like, here we are, application form data. Interesting. So this one here, if we just view that template, looks like it's a demo. It's not very interesting. Let me show you a more interesting one on our system. So the idea here is that you can mail merge from a different context into a system. So let's take our system here and go for, let me just search on a so let me just search on a specific job that I'm working on at the moment, where this lady, who I will hide the things, the job is they want to do some stats on how long people stay at each job application stage. And the idea is that you can mail merge or email merge from that. When I have finished that job, I will send this lovely lady there we are, this thing here. So this is an email, and if I view the way that it'll look out, so basically this will say, dear Mark, and let's just cover the private stuff here. How did you feel about the job that we did for you on this thing? When I say lovely lady, he's asked me to do it, but I'm working with his analyst. So basically, that's what the job is, and you can put clever stuff in, like saying how happy they were or unhappy. But the main idea is I've mail merged in here his name and the job number and what we were doing for him. And the important thing about that is when I hit send, I've got like a semi-level of automation. I can do a little bit of editing, send it off. So the next question is, what fields can I use? And if I go back here to this previous one, you can see the templates that I can set up just here. Oh, I'm not sure what that is supposed to be doing. That needs to go. I'll put that down there, private data. So you can see in here the templates that I can use, and there's a thing called what fields can I use. So when you do your mail merging, if you put that in, it'll give you their address. If you put, let me just stay away from personal stuff. So that would put in their address in it, if it was a job contract or something like that. In addition, somewhere around, you could have all of the notes and information being mail merged in, and so on and so forth. So you can literally send somebody a customized mail shot on a newsletter or on an email or in a Word document about them, their contract details, many of which could be kept in lookups, and you can mail merge those things in. Let's go and take a look at a mail merge contract for a person. If we go back to the demo system here, let's take a look at a mail merge contract for a person and see how you could create a mail merge contract for a person. So it doesn't matter which one we take. Somewhere around here, there will be this Johnny Tester fella. And let's say we want to do a mail merge and it's an actual job contract. So that comes under variously. It doesn't look like we've got any templates at the moment, but the fields that we can use to put in the template for him are massive. So if I was to create a document, and I'm just going to bring up Notepad to show how this works now. Again, do call support if you want specifics on this. I can create a document that's either a Word document or a Word merge, and I can say this contract is between, and I can say name, NI number, and then personal details. And again, I'm going to keep this untidy, but what you can do is you can say contact short name, whoopsie, Control C in there, and NI number would be somewhere in here. Here we go. Control F, NI number. There we go. It doesn't look like we've got one for him, but nevertheless, there we go. We can mail merge that in. Pop that there. Oops. Control C, Control V. And then you can put any number of personal details. So you can put his address. We've got an address for him somewhere here. There we go. Yeah, contact address. And notice there's an address on one line and there's an address on multiple lines. So you could put personal details here. Control V. And that will bring out this stuff here on different lines. Whereas if I'd used this one line, it would have brought it out like that, which is very useful to use as well. Somewhere around there will be his cell phone number. Oh, look, passport number. That's useful. Oops. Control C. Control V. So the idea, whoa, whatever, I must have highlighted much more than I thought there. So the idea, let's just get rid of all this. Actually, that would be a useful one. Expiry date of work permit, if necessary. Yeah, bank account details, all those things would be very useful as well. Let's just get rid of the rest of it. So basically, you can get them to, you can put all of that in their contract. Where I've got to there. Driving license. As much information as you wish. There we go. Yeah, probably do that. And forget this. So there we go. Far too much stuff I've put in here. So the basic idea here is that you can create this mail merge document and you can put that into a Word document or you can put it into an email and you can send it out and it will mail merge this data here into the document that you've created. For your first one, give us a call. If you can see an idea that you'd like to make a document for, do give us a call and we can help you create those document templates. Again, I absolutely love them. I mean, just for one of ours, for example, if I just pick a random person in our system, I don't know what I'd do with this thing, but somewhere here, if I pick, if I just go and grab me, for example, there we go. Oops, search, don't I? Search. Here we go. I'll just go and grab me. Doesn't seem to want to find me. Interesting. Oh well. Maybe I'll have to. Obviously, Chrome trying to help me here. ICK.MAINGO. So that should give the instances of me on there. I think Chrome's trying to fill out my Amazon thing or something. So that there goes into reports. So I can then say, here we are, non-disclosure agreement, for example. I can say, where are we? Send a letter, wherever it's gone. Where's it all gone? Email merge, here I send letter. And I can pick the one that I want to send. So it could be that I've just talked to a customer about their system and we want to send a non-disclosure error letter. Where's it gone? Somebody's whipped it off. Interesting. Oh, am I on the demo system or something? Yes, I'm on the demo system. That's stupid. I should have been on our last system. So somebody's obviously done an airport pass here. There's another example. Very, very good example. So this thing here is going to pull in all the details. Clearly it's not been used for a while, but it will pull in all the details of me, stick them in there and create my airport pass questionnaire document. But obviously I haven't filled in the questions to be able to do that stuff, but it's clearly mail merged it all. The one that I had intended to show you was on our live system, but we're kind of running short of time now, but you get the idea of how that can mail merge in. So yeah, this is obviously the demo system. So lastly, I wanted to show you import admin. Now, import admin is, as you can imagine, what are we on the demo system? Excellent. Import admin is, as you can imagine, all about applying a formula. So if I just bring it up, at its heart, it's pretty simple. You upload a file. I'm on the demo system, aren't I? Yeah. So you upload a file, you select your file here, and you go and just browse your file. So somewhere around, I'll have some training files around the place, which I'm not going to do now. If I do one that I did earlier, there we are, Lloyd's Store Import, whatever Lloyd's Store Import was. Let's go and have a look at that file. So in the Lloyd's Store Import, there it is. Let's just go and open it. Excel will be opening somewhere around here. We have got a bunch of venues at which we are going to be doing some work, some shifts, I presume. And you can see it's for the BP1234, the imaginary BP1234. I imagine these Lloyd's stores were once, I don't know, some load of shoe shops or, you know, proper stores, John Lewis's or something like that. If you actually went to those addresses, you'd probably find PC Worlds or something there. But we've made it Lloyd's stores or New Blue Shoes or whatever to attempt to make it you know, into demo information rather than proper store names. The columns are very important. These column headings here are the column headings that appear just down here. So these are the import fields. So in this case, store retailer ID, which is the unique ID that each store retailer has, either from your client or from that store retailer. So I don't know if this particular shop had a real ID like that, or whether the client of this field marketing company that at one point gave us this file had these IDs. But the important thing is we can import and re-import because we've got these unique IDs to match upon. And indeed, if we ever did a re-import, we would certainly match upon, we'd tick that box to match upon as well to be able to dedupe, to make sure we weren't putting it in twice. So this import has already happened, obviously, but what's happened is you've got store retailer ID, and we've created a lookup called store retailer ID to put that in. The organization is the organization name. You can see in every case it's Lloyd's Stores, but then each store building one is Lloyd's Windsor, Lloyd's Sutton, Lloyd's Bournemouth, and so on and so forth. So they will have names for those. And they're somewhere down here. They would be store build 1 is site building, and so on. Postcode goes in postcode. These are all pretty obvious if you've ever done any kind of import before. You would then prepare and validate that data. And what it would do is go off and check that it was all in there. And then obviously it's going to check against the internal data. And as soon as you preview it, it's going to say, nope, they're all merged in. We've got those all before. So you can go and have a look at that, and you can see which one on the system is already in there. So you can see that the whole thing is already matched, and you wouldn't actually want to import that one anyway. Normally there wouldn't be, or there'd be half of them matched or 3 or 4 of them matched. So going back to the PowerPoint slideshow, which seems a very long way back in my Windows now. When you do your imports, it's very, very important to read the manual. I hate to say this, but imports are 99% preparation, it's 95% preparation and 5% pressing a button to get it in. For a start off, once you have got an import file, you'll almost certainly want to check that you've got the lookups to put some of the extra data in. You'll want to be very careful about what you match on. And remember, garbage in is garbage out. If you put garbage into a database, you can do a lot of damage, and it's a real pain in the neck to pull it out again. Accuracy being critical, we've also, for various different applications, got some import templates. This one here, I've got lurking around somewhere. Unfortunately, this, when you click, it doesn't do that, but I have an application template somewhere, I believe on Firefox, if I can go find Firefox somewhere here. It's going to be somewhere around there. I've got it. Nope, not exactly popping up easily. Maybe that's it. No, it's somehow got stuck there. I thought I had it here. No. If I just replace that with this, you can see this template. Oh, it's obviously not allowing me to cut and paste it, so what I'll do is I'll just go and find it. Well, you've got the links there anyway. Basically, it explains what each column does. And then somewhere around, I've also got, lurking about, I've also got a, again, I think it's on a Firefox. Let's just go find it. Could this be it? I think that is it here. Here we go. I think this is it. No. Let's close some of these windows. Yeah, no, that's a different document altogether. I think the imported document. I'd probably just have to put that into a. I think basically click on the links that we sent you in the email, and you can get to these. There's a lot of pretty clear to understand information in this marketing import template, which explains exactly how to put in the organization name, the sites, the customers, and then you'll save yourself a lot of time and effort. But as I say, if you're not the sort of person that wants to get into the minutiae of data, for goodness sakes, don't do an import. You know, there are certain people who are happy and understand that they're going to take the care, and I think most of the people on this call are that kind of person. Don't give it to somebody who won't take the care to put it in, because they will do a lot of damage. Just outsource it to us. You know, we only charge a few quid to do an import for you, so just give it to us to do if you are not comfortable with doing it, and then we can give it to a relatively junior person, and it's good training for them, and they'll be supervised so they don't mess it up. But the formula for doing it, and it is a formula and you have to get it right, is first of all, take a look at the template. If you read the manual, there's 3 or 4 different templates for importing things. Upload your file up to the system, and that was what I was just demonstrating before, just here in the import configuration, where you select your file and upload it. Then what you do is you match the fields. If I put this side next to the list here, so you match the fields. So for example, project ID goes into lookups, project reference. Obviously, something like town goes into site, town, and so on. And you can see there's organizations, sites, contacts, lookups, notes, and so on. This is site, and in site you've got all the fields for site plus any lookups you've got for site. So you match up the fields, and then you decide what you're going to deduplicate on. So in this situation, they only want one organization. As soon as Lloyd Stores has gone in once, it will never be imported again. So you'll get one organization and many sites if you do this import with that tick box there. You then need to verify it, as I showed you before, which is done on this import report here. And at that point, you can actually correct and save and correct and save. So you might say, oh, that's wrong. That should be Surrey with 3 X's or something like that. And you can save that with a corrected spelling. At this point here, you very often find that there's a lookup that you need to create. So you need to come out of it, go into lookups admin, create the lookup and come back again. It's a bit like building an application form where you start to build your application form and you think, oh goodness, we don't have a lookup for eye color or whatever it is. So you need to go back in, or Chinese language or something. So you need to go back in. So lastly, there's a big old loop of correcting and verifying. And that's importing for you. It's all well documented, and it's also a pain in the neck because you have to take a lot of care to do it correctly. Again, do please outsource it to us, or give it to somebody in your organization that's got an hour or two to be able to make sure they get all the data correct. One of the biggest issues we have is where the data itself is not correct, and it's really important to get it correct. There's some examples in this marketing template and here, but one example that was quite interesting was L'Oreal. I don't know if you're aware, but there's multiple different types of apostrophe. So L apostrophe, there's 3 or 4 different ones of them, depending on whether you use Microsoft Word or a Linux product or your Android form. And these things are often quite challenging for databases to pick up. There's multiple different dashes. Don't put too many, or try to avoid putting commas in things because you're importing from a comma separated list often. Yeah, there's just dozens and dozens of tips which are obvious if you've done any sort of data import, but there's only so much a computer can do to figure out what you would like to import. So it's very important to read the manual, formulaic, take a lot of care. So that's it for today. Thank you very much indeed for your time.